So, welcome everybody to this part two of the sessions on gratitude. And we're going to begin tonight with a prayer read by Dana. So, if you'd like to close your eyes, it's always lovely to listen with your eyes closed. You feel we go into it more. Oh, Dana, you're on mute. I helpfully asked everybody to go on mute.
Sorry.
And you come off. No, that was my fault. So we've just closed it again.
Okay, this prayer comes from The Mystic Jesus, The Mind of Love, and it's a new book by Marianne Williamson. And I highly recommend it. It's full of fabulous information. And if I may, just before I start the prayer, I'm going to read this very short paragraph, which leads into why the prayer. All of us are privy to the darkness of the world and carry it within ourselves. A traditional psychotherapeutic approach involves analyzing the darkness, whilst praying for a miracle means turning on the light. The light of the world is a light in your mind. He has risen, and so can we. Dear God, please make me who you would have me be, that I might do as you would have me do. Transform my mind and heal my heart. Release me from torment that I might help release others. Show me my innocence that I might more clearly see theirs. Bless me that my life might be a blessing on the world. May love, and love only, be my way, dear God. Amen.
Amen. And thank you, Dana. Just keep your eyes closed a moment. Just feel the loveliness of that prayer. And just let it take us into gratitude for all the beautiful prayers that there are out there, for the way that we can share them, and how just those few lines can take us into a reverence for the light that we are. And gratitude. And remembering, as we always do, that we are one. And we just close our eyes and we let the picture or the images of our bodies fade. We can remember we are one. We are one. We are one. And so filled with gratitude that we are one. And gently returning. Welcome, Eileen. Hi, lovely to see you. Good. So, I want to talk about this week, or share us to share together this week, what I call blessings from adversity. And there are many obvious blessings in our lives. And last week we talked particularly about the lesson, I thank my father for his gifts to me. So we feel that experience of love and gratitude within us, not aimed at anything specific, but just that welling up of gratitude when we connect to the divinity that we are. And this week, I want us to go a little bit deeper inside and see if we can see the way in which we have grown as people through the adversity that we've had to deal with in our lives. And I find this a really interesting subject because I know when I look back, I can see that although I'm fundamentally the same person, I have got so much bigger and stronger and broader through my response to the tough things that have happened to me. And I've often thought about this, and I thought this is true for all of us. If we all just pottered through life and everything was really easy and beautiful, and we didn't have anything faintly traumatic going on, and would we not end up a little bit blobby, maybe? Because don't we develop our great characteristics, our great qualities, through having to rise to the challenges that come our way? Yeah? And we respond to those things by reaching deep inside of us and finding the qualities of the divine qualities within us, and they grow and develop when we apply them to tough situations. So I don't know if that resonates with you, because I'm going to ask you in a minute, to have a look at this look at it in our lives. But I wanted to highlight, when I was thinking about this, there was 4 qualities that I particularly highlighted that I think we develop in response to adversity. One is resilience, which is you might call bounce back ability. If we hit something really challenging, mostly we don't just lie down for the rest of our lives, and we actually get up and we have another go, and we learn from it, not always consciously, but in that getting up again when we fall down a hole, we find the ability to get out of that hole. We get a little bit stronger, we become a little bit wiser. So resilience, I think, is a great quality. And how do you develop resilience if it's not through having to be resilient in the face of tough things? If you didn't have any tough things, would you ever learn to be resilient? Probably not. Then I thought, going with that is adaptability. If our lives are always lovely and predictable and a nice straight line and nothing happens that's ever tricky, we don't learn how to adapt and flow and shift and grow with what's happening to us. If we get used to life being nice and predictable, everybody loves us and everything's nice, again, it's a bit limiting. We're not going to develop things from dealing with that. Then I thought one of the greatest things that comes out of adversity is that we develop empathy. We learn that what empathy you could call fellow feeling, being able to feel into what's going on for other people. We develop that, I reckon, through the experiences that we have that are painful and difficult and challenging. And we see then, that we suffer, that we struggle, we feel wounded. And then once you feel that, you can actually much more likely to feel it in other people and be empathetic with them. An almost very similar thing, I suppose, is compassion. I think that through our own suffering, we begin to be able to see what's going on for other people and develop our compassion for them. And I know that I recognize it particularly in my own life, that one, because when my son was born, it was a particularly horrendous birth, and I'd made some not very wonderful decisions, and we both nearly died, and it was a particularly awful time. And after the birth, for the first time in my life, I saw myself as vulnerable, that I couldn't do anything I wanted to do. I always had this sort of arrogant place in me that I could do anything I wanted. I was super powerful. Anything I decided was all going to happen. I don't know how I got to the time when he was born without having that really challenged before. But when it was challenged, and when I didn't have anything like the birth that I'd planned and knew I was going to have, I was for a long, long time in a really tearful place. And I suddenly realized that women, I know men suffer too, but in this moment I understood the suffering of women at the hands of men. In many cases, I did have a particularly awful Spanish doctor who was very aggressive and unkind, and I was very, very powerless. And I just got it, that I was feeling oppressed, badly treated. I really suffered from it. I cried and cried as a result. And then I felt this. I thought, my God, women all over the world at any time are suffering at the hands of the cruelty of men. I am sure also men are suffering from the cruelty of women. I'm not saying it's different or special. I'm just saying that's what I understood at that time. And that was the birth in me of my compassion. Now, if I hadn't have had that, I could have spent the rest of my life, being a very arrogant person, thinking I could do anything I wanted. And I had no sympathy for anybody else. Incredible, really. So that little story, perhaps illustrates a bit of that was real adversity for me. And actually, I had terrible depression. I had cried for about 6 months after he was born. And it was a whole new experience. So I'm just offering that as an illustration, of what can happen. And I had to develop resilience. I had to learn to be adaptable. I developed empathy. And the most powerful thing of all was the compassion. So that's perhaps led me to understand those qualities. But I think it'd be really great if people could think about what they have, in what way they've grown. I'm just going to highlight a couple of other things that I thought about when I was preparing this. I thought about, can we think about what is adversity? And you'll have your ideas as we go along. And I thought, well, it's when we feel attacked or we are attacked. It's when we get setbacks of any sort in our lives. Things don't go as we want them to do. When we go through real hardship, when we suffer great loss, and when we experience some kind of disappointment. So you may be able to think of other things that you would call adversity. Does anybody want to add anything to that list you'd call adversity? No, that's okay. But that, broadly speaking, I think sort of covers most of the things that might occur to us. Then I thought, well, before I ask you to think about it, I thought, well, what does it do? What does adversity do? So partly it helps us develop these great divine qualities, but also in more practical terms in our lives, I thought it makes us question our fixed attitudes. We can get stuck in, this is how we see things, this is my opinion, this is how it all is. But adversity makes us challenge our fixed attitudes and opinions. It makes us learn new things that we couldn't do before. Suddenly we're invited to learn new stuff. It pushes us out of our comfort zone, and enables us to expand our comfort zone. Things that we are comfortable with get a little bit bigger and broader. We can discover new potential, untapped potential that we didn't know we had. And we can also redefine what we might have called failure, and turn it into a learning experience or into a success. I just remembered in this moment, did you know that Edison, it was Edison, wasn't it, who invented the light bulb? You may know this. Apparently he actually invented 99 light bulbs that didn't work. And somebody said to him, before he got to the 100th that did, somebody said to him, hasn't it been really dreadful and depressing and miserable, all these failures? And he said, no, not at all. I just discovered 99 ways not to make a light bulb. And it's just so lovely, So the way we describe things, can really make a difference, can't it, to how we feel? So they're going with that then, I thought, it enhances our problem solving skills. We don't have any problems, we don't know how to solve problems, do we? And it also helps us to embrace change rather than fearing change. When big changes have occurred and you can look back and say, wow, that was a big change, but I seem to be fine. I got the hang of that, I can do it. Then you feel like a little bit stronger and more capable. Oh, and I didn't put on the list of qualities strength. That should be on there, shouldn't it? So that's one of the things we develop through meeting adversity in a strong way. Yeah, we get strong. So let's add strength to that list. So I would just like to ask you to think about this in your lives. What adversity have you been through? This is the contemplation bit. What adversity have you been through? What did you learn from it? Now, that's a very big question. If you're going to do all adversity, all the things you learned, we'd be here all day. So just see if something comes to you. Something that happened, maybe recently, maybe long ago. Something that happened to you that you really thought was really tough, that could have been defined a failure or could have really messed up your life. You find it difficult to cope. So thinking about, what it is, were you attacked in some way? Did you experience a big setback in the way you approach your life? Great hardship, did that come to you? Was there a major loss? Or was there a big disappointment? Or maybe something else? So just let's have a couple of minutes while you have a little reflect and see what comes to you that you put in that adversity box. And then when you've really got in touch with what it is that you want to think about, reflect on, then try and ask yourself, what divine qualities, what great qualities did I develop through the way that I actually rose to that challenge. So we've got so far resilience, adaptability, empathy, compassion, and strength. It's very likely that one or two of those would have come in, but maybe there's something else. It's very important, that we find our individual things. What did you learn? How did you become a bigger person as a result of this? Just another minute or so. I hope it's coming to you. Mm. And just thinking while I'm sitting here reflecting, of how we can develop the capacity to love unconditionally, how the capacity to forgive can come out of adversity, kindness, generosity. So I wonder if I can ask you to, well, one or two of you'd like to share what you've discovered. I don't know. I hope I'm not rushing you at all. Does anybody feel ready to say what their tough situation was and what they felt they developed as part of it? Viviane. Oh, take your mute off, Viviane.
No, just the adversity is when, for me, it seems it's not adversity, nobody else was involved except me. So I didn't need to forgive anyone. It's just, for example, I wanted to be a PE teacher. So something happened medically. So they said, no, you cannot be there. I tried to say, "Are you sure?" to the doctor. I was then about 19, and what else could I do? It was just acceptance.
Mm.
And so I accepted that. I said, "You can't be there, find something else." And so I work more on a new way, on a new direction. And okay, I was very, very hurt, but I've accepted it so easily. I was so surprised. So I said to my life so many, because of the continuation carried on my life, and that kind of a situation stop because you've got that. I've learned just, okay, you don't want me to do that, put it up to God. That's probably you want me to do that, God. All right, okay, lead me to where you want me to go. And then I carried on, and then I've got all my life, and it led me to Ian. I've been lucky. It led me to then, and then coming to England, I couldn't do all the thing I wanted to do because my English was not good. No, it was for me, adversity taught me adaptation.
Wonderful, yeah, thank you.
Is
And you know, I can hear as well, it taught you to listen to guidance, didn't it?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
I fell completely under God's power.
wonderful.
So what else can I do? Okay, you want me to do that, but I must. I ask forgiveness to God to speak to him a bit strongly, but I think he's got a sense of humor.
Thank you. That's brilliant. Thank you. Anyone else like to share their adversity and what they learnt, how they grew from it? Terry.
Hi everyone. Yeah, my turning point for me in my thinking in my life really came from a period when my youngest daughter was close to death in Gloucester Royal Hospital. She'd just given birth to my granddaughter, who was okay, but my daughter's with hemorrhaging, and they couldn't stop it. And so they called me in, and I was at a loss because I was always a person who thought that I could do anything, I could control
Oh, like
anything.
me.
And there I was faced with my daughter, and I sat with her in the theatre, in the emergency theatre, and she was bleeding all the time. And in the end, they asked me to leave because they were going to attempt to stop the bleeding. But the consultant who was doing it took me to one side and said they didn't have a great deal of hope in doing it. So prepare yourself for the worst outcome. So I went then into the waiting room and phoned up a friend of mine who I worked with. He was a counsellor with me at a treatment centre for people with addictions. And I phoned him up, and I knew he was a practicing Christian. And he said, I'll phone around and I'll get. He started reeling off the people he was going to contact to send out thoughts of healing to my daughter. And it was all over the world. It was quite, I was quite taken by, even thinking about it now, I'm quite taken by the gift he gave me. And my daughter pulled through, much to the surprise of the surgeon and everyone else. And now she's okay. She's been around for a few years since then, and she's okay. And it changed my thinking. It changed the way I saw things. Changed the way I saw God as a power. with just a name we call God. It could be called anything. But it's a power that we can turn to when we're in our lowest ebb, and it always comes through. We mightn't see the results, because the ego will probably tell us they're not good enough, but the results are there, and God always answers our call. That's what I learned. So it was a great experience for me after I got over the fear and the worry and all that, to go through that, because that's when I really started to study the Course in Miracles, and not long after that. And I was fortunate enough to have Ange next to me, and then being my support and love anyway. So life just changed completely for me in that moment. So although right now that daughter, she's one of two daughters, that daughter is not speaking to me for whatever reasons. That's been going on for a while. There's still that experience she gave me in that hospital, which changed my life.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
Can I
Okay.
carry on?
Angela, yes, please do.
Nothing so dramatic as that. I was trying to think, I was going through all my adversities and feeling as though I didn't have a sudden thing that would happen to me. It's been like a slow burn rather than a revelation most of the time. But I do remember one time actually noticing something, and that's when my first husband left. And I was absolutely devastated. I had two young children, and I was in a terrible state. At the time, for many years, I've had mental health issues, and at that time, it was quite strong. But he left, and I thought I would just fall apart. But oddly enough, a couple of days after he left, I was in the shower, and this sudden realization, I suppose, came over me, and I suddenly felt free to start to love myself, because I'd been put down and bullied and coerced for so many years. I had such a low opinion of myself, and I just felt judged the whole time. But suddenly I had this lifting. I've got a shiver going through me now, because it was so noticeable that I suddenly felt free of that terrible judgment, and that actually I could start to love myself. And so that adversity brought me to the point of just getting in touch with a spiritual part of me that I hadn't been before. Strange.
Wonderful. Thank you, Angela. Thank you. That is lovely. Wow. And now I wish we had time for everybody to tell their story, but obviously we haven't. But I'm just going to ask you, just to say, those of you who haven't spoken, what was it that grew within you, what developed within you? So if you can do just a really short sentence, then it means everybody will have shared something, although we can't do, long stories for everybody. Are you with me? So could you say something like, out of my adversity, I grew in resilience, or something like that? Yeah. So it'd be just so nice to see what it is that people have developed in themselves through the stuff they've been through. So let me ask you, those of you who haven't spoken yet, if you'd like to just share that. Sarah, is there something you feel you've gained through adversity?
Eventually, spirituality. I think, yeah, and of course, strength and learning to love without condition, not, or starting to, I'd say. Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you. Eileen, did you want to share what you've gained?
Hard to put into words, but out of adversity, how transient this life and the physical body is, and that we are much bigger. There's something that holds us, that encompasses us, that's so much more than this.
Yeah.
So like Angela, there's a freedom in realizing that.
Yes, and that is a real realization, isn't it? It's not about information. In Eastern traditions, they talk about the knowledge of the head drops down into the heart, where it becomes realization, and then we live from there. When it's just information in your head, it doesn't do a lot. But you had a realization, didn't you? Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Alison, did you want to share anything about what you have, how you've learned and grown from adversity? I doesn't want to go off. Oops. Oh, you popped over and at the other side of my screen. Oh, you've got it. You've got it. Brilliant.
Have I?
Yeah.
Have I?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the first time I've used my phone for Zoom, so I'm not familiar with whether I've been pressing unmute. Nothing happened. So I would say, Leah, that well, I've becoming stronger. I've become stronger indeed. I'm becoming much more.
It's gone a bit crackly. I tell you what, can you just write it in the chat? Because we can't hear you for the interference. So rather than spend ages trying to sort it out, we could see what you have to say if you wrote it in the chat. Could you do that? Yeah, brilliant. So while you're writing, I'll just ask somebody else and I'll come back again. Okay, so who else hasn't said anything? Dana, did you want to share how you grew from adversity?
Yeah, I'd love to. Mine is a more recent incident that happened to me, very recently, about a few weeks ago. And I became more resilient, and I feel I very quickly reminded myself not to be the victim. Whereas before, I could come to that realization that I don't need to be a victim, or I'm not a victim. But this was very quick. It was right. No, this isn't going to happen. I'm not a victim here. And I was being verbally attacked at the time. So yeah, it was quite hard, but I was resilient and got there quickly.
Good, lovely, thank you. Helen.
Yes, I think for me, I developed from adversity a much stronger sense of awareness and unconditional love.
Wow. What a gift. Thank you. And Jan.
Yeah, I would say a few things. Big thing with Joe was focusing it really. That situation helped me. I was going to say force me to, but it really made me focus on my spiritual path. So that was one thing. And other things in the past I thought of, relationships breaking down or whatever. And that was about loosening my judgment of people and compassion.
Wow, thank you. Lovely, thank you. I think I've asked everybody, haven't I? So, what a range, isn't there, of things, the ways in which people have grown, but they're all things that I think everybody can recognize. And probably, because we're all one, we're all sharing in that wonderful growth. Good. Now we've got Alison's. I have become stronger. I'm learning to look inside rather than take my lead from others, which, oops, the last bit disappeared, but that was pretty lovely what we got from you. Super. Thank you, everybody. So you can see how the focus of gratitude comes out of this, can't you? So these things the ways in which we've grown are really wonderful, and that the gratitude I think that comes from that is really, really lovely. So I'd like us to do a meditation. Oh, and there's a little thank you from to Angela there. I'd like to do a meditation on gratitude, where you can actually just take your own space, where you talk to the Holy Spirit or to God or to Jesus or Buddha or whoever you like to talk to, and just express your gratitude. So we'll be all expressing together in the silence our gratitude for all the gifts that have come to us. And I was thinking before we do that, a couple of really lovely quotes. Most of you probably know this one from the course. All your past, except its beauty, is gone, and nothing is left but a blessing. So these things, the ways in which we've grown, they're part of the blessings, aren't they? Part of the gifts from God. So I'm thinking of that lesson, I am blessed with the gifts of God. These are some of the gifts that we're blessed with, aren't they? So it's a natural response, it's gratitude. And last time we were talking about how gratitude just arises in us. We don't have to sit there and think, what am I grateful for? You might have to do that if you're thinking about worldly things or physical things, but we're really not focusing on that. These things are much more subtle, aren't they? So the gratitude is naturally there when we become aware of our wonderful gifts. And the other one is from Buddha. The past is already gone. The future is not here yet. There is only one moment that you have to live, and that is the present moment. So that's another beautiful thought of it, just to be grateful, full of gratitude in this present moment now, and all the ongoing present moments that we live. Okay, so I'll just ask you to close your eyes and we'll just do a little meditation, and then we'll have time for gratitude song with Angela. So close your eyes. Take a minute or two just to be really present. Be in this present moment. Be aware of your breathing. The flow of breath in and out. You're trying to change it, just observing. Notice the way your chest moves and the feel of the breath on your nostrils. Your feet on the ground, where your body touches the seat that you're sitting on. Hands just resting lightly in your lap. Sense of everything slowing down. There's one or two little birds chirping away, even at this late time. You might be able to hear them. Thoughts will continue to arise, and just try not to take too much notice. Let them rise and drift away without attaching to them. Feeling very peaceful and centered. And remembering the love that flows through you, divine love that's unconditional, just flows through us all, and it envelops anything that it touches. No discrimination. Unconditional love. Love first for ourselves, being love. letting it rise up and radiate out into the world. I am love. I am love. Naturally within the love there is gratitude. It's almost the same. Love and gratitude. Fullness and beauty. You might say to yourself, I am so grateful, so filled with gratitude. Gratitude and love. When we begin, we don't need any objects for our love, any objects for our gratitude. Then we become aware of all the things we have learned through adversity, through the challenges that have come to us in our lives, the loss, the hardship, the difficulties, the disappointment. And we know that we have come through. We are here now, joining together in love and gratitude. A moment, I'll just be quiet and let you express your love and gratitude in the way you wish. Just bringing to mind all these great qualities within this intangible, not objects, not form or worldly. I am so grateful. I just leave you for 5 minutes to express your gratitude as you wish. Gently now starting to come back. Take your time. It's feeling, taking away with you the love and the gratitude in all our hearts. Gradually opening your eyes when you're ready. Thank you. I'm just going to read this little thing to you that I really like from a guy called Sean Reagan, who does vlogs on the course, and he found him recently through Sarah with an I. And this quality, reverence, he's talking about. Reverence is an extension of the right perception of gratitude. When we realize that we have everything and that our only joy is in giving it to our brothers, we see that God is in us in a tangible way as we are in God. Given that profound, beautiful, and altogether holy truth, how can we not be reverent? How can we not long in each moment to fall to our knees in joyous prayer? Isn't that lovely? Okay, so the last 10 minutes is devoted to our song of gratitude. I thought it was, I should just say before we do that, is that I'm not doing any more of these until the 3rd of September, right? Because I realize it's just so hot, it's too hard. Now it's not about cooling down a bit, but when I begin and setting everything up, it's just so hot. I just want to lie down and cry. So, so I thought, no, this is ridiculous. Much as I love it, I'm going to just stop now until Tuesday, the 3rd of September. Okay. And then on the 10th of September begins the emotional healing course, which the Miracle Network is I'm doing it for them. So I hope very much you'll all be able to come to that. I sent a little thing about it recently. Very close to my heart, working with feelings. So that will be lovely. And I think probably on the 3rd of September, I'm going to do a childhood trauma group. Actually, I haven't done one for a while. I'm going to do something on authenticity, which is a really important thing. Okay, sorry, using up your time, Angela, go.
Okay, so I'll quickly show you the moves and explain the words, and they're so repetitive we'll soon pick them up because we haven't figured out yet, Leah, have we, how to share, somebody else share. Okay, so full view. It's mostly at the top, so you don't need to see my legs.
Do you want me to put the music on first, or are you just showing me?
I'll go through it quickly.
Oh, okay.
First, the words and the actions, so that you can follow them when the music comes on. So she and there's a little interlude in part way through, and that's when I suggested to our group about simply go within and experience the gratitude. No words, no thoughts, just experience this gratitude that just comes from love, being loving. It's in the heart of God. That's where the gratitude sits. So this is she starts off saying, I'm so grateful 4 times, and then these actions start. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful. So then she repeats that about 3 times. And so if you just extend the gratitude, not looking, I'm grateful for that, I'm grateful, I'm extending gratitude out to everything I see. That it comes from within me, not to me. So that's basically it.
Lovely. I love things. It's such fun because it reminds us still 7 side, or 8 or 9 or whatever, we're still children, and it's so lovely. I can't stand up here, it's too complicated, but we'll fall down a bank here, so I will be doing it sitting down. But those of you who wish to stand, it's probably better standing up. You get into it more.
And then you can really get into it and throw your arms about. I know
Yeah.
Sarah, you'll do that.
Okay, here we go. Oh, lovely. Can you hear it? Can you hear it?
A bit more, bit more.
Gratitude before me.
Gratitude behind
And up on
me.
your devices.
Gratitude to the left of me.
Gratitude to the right of me. Gratitude above me. Gratitude below me. Gratitude within me. Gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful. 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 I'm so grateful for you all. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful.
Gratitude before me. Gratitude behind me.
Gratitude to the left of me.
Gratitude to the right of me. Gratitude above me. Gratitude below me.
Gratitude within me.
Gratitude all around me.
I'm so grateful.
I'm
I'm so grateful. 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 I'm so grateful.
Gratitude before me.
Gratitude behind me.
Gratitude to
To
the
the
left
left of me. Gratitude to the right of me.
Gratitude
Above me. Gratitude below me. Gratitude within me. Gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful. 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 Gratitude behind me. Gratitude to the left of me. Gratitude to the right of me. Gratitude above me. Gratitude below me. Gratitude within me. Gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful. 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 So grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. That's it. Oh, well, I feel good now.
Yeah,
Don't anybody else.
I'm so grateful for that.
It's so nice, isn't it, to get your body involved. I saw Eileen, your dog, got in there.
Oh, grateful for doggy.
Yeah. Oh, how lovely. Really nice. Thank you so much, Angela. Really beautiful. Okay, so we're just coming to the end of today. I hope that you found it valuable and enjoyable. It's always so nice to be with you. I'm sorry I won't be here again until the beginning of September, but oh, and if you're around tomorrow in the morning, I'm doing the Miracle Network meditation. So if you haven't seen it, I sent it out on email, the link, and I'll put it on the WhatsApp as well for you, just in case if anybody's around, you can come and join us. We'll be doing a little bit more on gratitude. It's really the flavor of the month for me. Isn't it a nice feeling though, feeling grateful?
Mm, for no reason.
Well, isn't it? You don't have to try and be grateful. As soon as you think about all the beautiful things, it's there in the love, isn't it? Sorry, Angela, you were saying something.
No, I said it's lovely feeling grateful for no reason. Because if I have to search for something, or if I say I'm grateful for that, then it's gone, then I'm disappointed. So I'd rather just feel gratitude.
Yeah, lovely. Okay, everybody, take your mute off so we can say goodbye. Oh, I've taken mine off, of course. So I love you very much.
Everyone.
I
Oh,
love working
love
Thank
you.
you.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
you.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Thank you for joining in.
September.
Yeah,
Bye.
Good summer.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.